celebrating junior bowling, elevating junior bowlers. This is Prodigy Bowlers Tour. It's the first day of our fall league season, and today 7 kids have stayed after league. They bowled one qualifying game to identify the top 5 who would advance to today's stepladder finals. And here they are. Bowling in the number 5 position is Hunter, the only junior varsity player in our field. This is the first time Hunter has gotten past a qualifier to bowl in a stepladder finals. He'll face our number 4 ranked player, Tristan. Tristan finished second on our season opening episode 2 weeks ago and will try to climb the ladder for his first win today. The winner of that first match will go on to face our number 3 ranked bowler, Christian. McFluffy won 4 times last year and will try to get his 2017-18 season kick-started with a win today. The winner of that match will face our number 2 ranked bowler, Kareena. Like Hunter, this is the first time Kareena has gotten past the qualifying round to make it into a stepladder on Prodigy. The only girl in our field today, Kareena will try to represent. And the winner of that match will face our faux tournament leader, Charlie, the winner of last year's coveted trophy pin. Charlie will be trying to pick up where he left off last season. And that's our field today on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Live on tape from Brunswick Zone Roswell in Roswell, Georgia, we welcome you to our 32nd episode of Prodigy Bowlers Tour, a series of unofficial, informal, and impromptu after-league challenge matches, staged by some of our most active and engaged junior bowlers, all in an effort to simulate big-time tournament competition in an open play environment. And on this weekend, we send our concerns out for the people of Florida who, as this episode of Prodigy is in post-production, are being slammed by Hurricane Irma. And while we certainly don't expect anything quite like what they're experiencing along the Florida coast, this storm's forecasted path appears to take it right over our area here in Metro Atlanta in the next few days. So we're all hoping that everyone gets through this ordeal and comes out the other side safe and with minimal damage. But today, we're here to see how much damage our 5 bowlers can visit onto the lanes. You see how our stepladder lays out today, so without further ado, let's get this party started. Match 1, our number 5 qualifier, Hunter, takes on our number 4 qualifier, Tristan. And there's about a 50-pin differential in average, but we're bowling scratch. And Hunter comes in a little light, nearly gets a wall shot. Leaves himself a simple spare, the 4-pin. Oh, we've talked about Hunter so many times on the show. Enthusiastic young kid, and he will bowl with the older kids, doesn't care. There's a spare for Hunter. He's not intimidated. I think somewhere deep down inside he probably knows his chances of winning against some of these big kids are probably remote, but he likes the action. Okay, here's Tristan. Comes in just a skosh high, leaving a 4-pin. Tristan made our first show of the year a couple of weeks ago, and we did the single ball eliminator. He made it all the way to the championship match before bowing to Mikey. Here he'll go cross lane at the 4. He had some trouble with spares on that previous show, but no problem with the 4-pin there. Tristan just came over from a neighboring bowling center to join our league this fall, and actually his mom was the secretary of that youth league over there. And he comes in the half pocket and gets that 5 to fall out. And now Hunter up on the right lane. Crossing over, leaves the 6 pin. Hunter has 2 bowling balls. One's 11 and one's 12. I'm not sure which is which. I wonder sometimes if that 12-pounder isn't just a little bit heavy for him. He's 9 years old, but he handles them pretty well. Just a little high. Leaves the 4. 999. You get a spare each time. You shoot 190. That would exceed his high game. There's another spare. You just keep closing your frames like that, and you won't beat yourself. All right, Tristan back up on the right, working on a strike. Can extend his lead here. But that ball drifts high. And he's got a tricky spare to shoot, the 3, 6, 10. Oh, and he chops it. Got a little wiggle out of the 10, but it does not go, so there's an open frame. I asked Tristan, are you nervous about getting beat by a 9-year-old? He said, a little. Comes in a little light, leaves the 2, 4, 5. I don't think Hunter is your normal 9-year-old. He probably spends as much time bowling as any teenager I know. Good cover of the 2, 4, 5. And now Hunter back up on the right lane. Oh, and it goes through the nose. And he's got a split, the 3, 6, 7, 10. Here's how you cover it. You want to get that ball over to the right of the 3 pin, knock it into the 7. The ball will take out the 6 and 10. Yeah, had the right idea, just got a little too much 3 pin. So they exchange open frames. And now Tristan takes the lead. Crossing over, leaves the 6, makeable spare. He's been really good on his spares this game. He only opened with that split. And there's another spare for Hunter. But now Tristan up on the right lane. And that drifts high. And he leaves the 6-10. Well, we're bowling on the house shot. It shouldn't be this difficult. There's a spare. So he maintains a 3-pin advantage halfway through this match. We talked about Tristan's swing a couple of weeks ago when he made his debut on Prodigy. He pushes the ball out to his right, and then that swing comes back behind his back. And then he reroutes it at the top. That was a good shot. Hunter pulls this one left. Look out. And now he's got a boatload of pins to deal with. The 1, 3, 8, 10. The best way to shoot it is to hit on the left side of the head pin, and you're better off going down the left side of the lane. And he turns around. He knows he whiffed it. So there's an unforced error. Well, I shouldn't say that. That's a difficult spare. Can he rebound? Ooh. And now he's got a split. The 5-7. Here's how you make that. Get that ball over to the right of the 5 pin. Slide it over into the 7. And too much 5 pin. So another open frame for Hunter. And now what looked like a promising opportunity is starting to slip away for Hunter. And Tristan puts another strike on the board. That's a double, so he increases his lead to 42. That was a good ball. He throws a bit of a spinner, but it gets into a good roll on the back end. That one waited a little too long to get into a roll. And so it comes up light, and he leaves the 2, 4, 5. A choppable spare, that. You want to put the ball between the 2 and the 5, although you can make it on either side of the 2. Or you can hit the 2 squarely and touch all 3 pins with the ball. That method may leave you a little breathless, but it'll work. All right, Hunter up on lane 40. And that ball just breaks a little too much. And he's got the 4-7. He'll go cross lane at it. Oh, look out. And that one drifts by the 4 pin, so there's another open for Hunter. And he is now 50 pins behind. If he were to strike out, he could get to 163. Tristan would pretty much just have to show up for the last 2 frames. Well, there's a strike. He's not out of it yet. Good count here will do it. Strike will do it for sure. And that gives Tristan, well, a minimum of 163 if he throws the next 2 balls in the moat, which I don't think he's going to do. Hunter would strike out. He'd get 163, so Tristan needs a pin. And there's 9 of them, so that will shut the door. And how about this? 9-year-old Hunter can add. He knows that was the end of his chances right there. I don't know if some of our older bowlers are quite that savvy on scorekeeping to know that. But Hunter knows. And he will have his day sooner or later. He's just got some growing to do. Love his enthusiasm and his love for the game. Tristan comes in that half pocket, gets 9, finishes with a 192. A good solid game, and we get a big smile on Tristan's face. As Hunter creeps high through the nose, leaving the 6-10. And that's going to hook by, although it's academic. The match was already lost. And it's Tristan who's going to move on to match 2. He will face Christian when we come back. There's a brand new tournament series coming to the Atlanta area for youth bowlers. It's the Atlanta Youth Challenge, a team competition with 4-member teams. Entry fee is $40 per team, and each team will field kids whose birth years are within a 2-year spread. The first event will be at Brunswick Zone Roswell on Sunday, October 15th at 10 a.m. For more details, ask the folks at participating AMF, Brunswick Zone, or Stars and Strikes bowling centers in the Atlanta metro area. Well, I'm not sure if match 1 was really a fair fight, but I do know that Hunter didn't care. He'll play to win regardless of how long the odds are. And sooner or later, he's going to break through and win a match or 2 against the big kids. But this time, it's Tristan who's moving on to match 2 to face Christian. McFluffy with the option of which lane to start on, and as is his wont, he's decided to start the match, which means he will throw his first ball on the left lane. And Tristan will finish first. Christian throwing his deviate misfit pearl and crosses over for a Brooklyn strike to start. He doesn't really have anything weaker than that to throw other than his spare balls, so I think that's what we're going to see. Right in the hole, there's Tristan with a strike to get started. So both of them off and running. Comes up light. I noticed on that first game that the right lane seemed to be hooking a little more than the left. He was coming up light on the left lane more often than he did on the right. Oh no, let's not start that again. He did that last time on Prodigy. So an opening for Christian early in the match. He hits that thing pretty hard with his hand at the bottom. I think when the lanes are hooking this much, less is more. You don't have to hit it so hard with your fingers at the bottom. Just let the ball come off your hand, roll it, maybe even loft it a little bit to get it to scoot down the lane some before it hooks. But that's back-to-back Brooklyns for Christian out of the box, so let's see if he can find the pocket. Oh, light, and he gets a wall shot. Well, we talk about the wall shot. Let's see what it is. Watch the head pin. The head pin goes to the left board and kicks out the 4 into the 5, takes out the 7, and that is the classic wall shot right there. Tristan misses left, and he's going to get 8 and a couple of wiggles. But that is the 5-10, and here's how to make it. Get that ball over on the left side of the 5, slide it into the 10. Let's see what he can do with it. Too much 5. So another open for Tristan. So he's gotten off to a bit of a shaky start here after a strike in the first frame, but let's see if he can bounce back. Changed balls and found the pocket with that one. Got it to finish that time. Well, the right lane is hooking so much, it's not surprising that he didn't want to break out a stronger ball, but it may be that the left lane, you need it. There's another Brooklyn. 3 out of 4 for Christian. I know he's not proud of those, but I also know he's not going to give them back. If you get 12 Brooklyn strikes in a row for a 300, do you give the ring back? I don't think so. There's a good one. Well, see, that's what you get for hitting the pocket. That's the best ball he's thrown all match, but watch the 6-pin, the second one from the right. It's going to fly up and around the 10. That's what we call the solid 10. And he will go cross lane at it. Okay, well, there is an unforced error. Tristan, 40 pins back, can cut the lead in half if he can throw 2 strikes right now. But he misses left again. This time he gets all but 1. Leaves the 3. Okay, he picked up his spare ball to shoot at the 3. And he's going to go with his strike ball. I like this move. When you're throwing for strikes, you're trying to hit the 1-3. So move your feet a couple of boards left and throw your strike ball. And you'll make the 3-pin. Easy peasy. No need to make this game harder than it already is. All right, Tristan needs strikes. No time like the present to get a little string started. Let's see what he can do. Hold it again. Through the nose this time. Still gets 9. Could have been worse. This time he will grab his spare ball and goes cross lane at the 6. And missed it wide. So that's 2 single pin spares that he has missed this game to go along with the split that forced an open. So meanwhile, Christian with a 4-bagger, and that's why he has a 52-pin lead as he gets up here in the 6th frame. And another wall shot. That head pin going to the sideboard, knocking the 4 into the 5. It almost didn't get the 5, but it did. And now if he can put another X up, he'll extend the lead to 62. But that left lane is just not finishing quite like the right lane. That was a near wall shot, but just didn't quite get into enough of a roll at the end. So he's got the 7-pin. And he takes his spare ball And we'll go cross lane at it. I don't love this method. And that's why. I like seeing these kids use the fourth arrow for all their spares when they're using the spare ball. When you go cross lane at the 7, you have to cross the track area of the lane. Sometimes it'll hook a little bit, even with a plastic ball. Sometimes it won't. That time it didn't. All right, Tristan, another pulled shot. And I know he's a little flummoxed over that right now. But he's left himself, well, he left the 1-3-6-10, but, well, we've talked about this before. Watch what happened. A couple of them fall down. Well, we've said before on Prodigy, this is unofficial, informal, and impromptu competition, so we just shoot them as is. Play it as it lies. And that's a spare. He would have made it if the 6-10 had been up. But now he needs to go to the wall. He has a possible 195. Tristan is going at a 205 pace. Well, it was a little better shot, but still a little left of where he wanted it. Well, not only do we want to get Tristan's swing plane worked out, and I use the term swing plane singularly, he really has two swing planes. He has one in his backswing and a different swing plane on his through swing. We'd like to get both of them lined up, but I'd also like to see him keep his hand more behind the ball. He gets completely around it, and hence the spinner move. He would get a lot more power on the ball, a lot stronger roll, heavier roll, as we sometimes call it, if he could stay more behind the ball. Part of that is a strength issue, and sometimes it's hard to do when you're still young. You got to develop some strength in your wrist and hand. He wears a wrist brace, so he has some reinforcement there. And McFluffy goes through the nose. Let's take another look at this. We're going to look at his trajectory here. He lays that ball down at about the 23rd board. It crosses the arrows at about 15, maybe 14. And at the break point, he's down around the 7th board. That's about the 40-foot mark. And it just takes a hard left turn. Now, this is a 42-foot oil pattern, so he should be playing a little inside that. So we'll see if he makes an adjustment later on. He needs to move left, at least on that lane. 39, not so much. There you go. That's right in the pocket on lane 39. Prior to this moment, most everybody was having a hard time getting the ball up to get to the pocket on the left lane. That is typical of this pair. 40 always hooks more. Oh, that could have been the big 4, but he breaks it up. Still, he needed that strike, and that hands the match to Tristan. It's out of the wood now. The best Tristan can do is 171. Tristan has 165 in the 8th with a strike up, so he's already got 171 beat. But Tristan will finish out the match and see if he can't finish on a high note. going to be a 4th place finish for Tristan. Well, the rarely seen 1 pin. He almost got the domino strike, knocking the 4 forward into the 2 and the 2 into the 1, but the 1 remains. Shouldn't have any problem with this one. There's a spare in the 10th for Tristan. We'll see if he can finish strong with a strike for 160. Comes up a little high, leaves the 4, but that's a 159. Not what he was hoping for, but he won 1 match. And now Christian, possible 225 if he finishes with 3 strikes. Well, that seems to be the sweet spot for him in this match. He goes Brooklyn, collapses the 5-9. Not his best effort. But see, when you've got the match well in hand and it's won, this is the time to go ahead and experiment. Make a big move on the lane. If you had another ball to try it. He doesn't. There you go. That's what you're looking for right there. I think he did make a move. But this is the time to experiment because it won't matter. The match is already tucked away. And another one right in the hole, so Christian finishes strong with a 4-bagger. And he is moving on to match 3. He will face Kareena when we return. Here's Jesse, another 2-hander. Jesse's been on our show a time or 2. Here's Andrew. Oh, he puts the big crank on that one. I thought that was long gone. It picks up oil off the lane. You wipe it off. Logan goes high through the nose, breaks up the split. Can't get anything to bounce out, so that's an open frame. Christian for the 4-7. Looks like Brandon's on a roll. If he can get another strike here, he may run away and hide. Kara, you can lead us off. And look, the camera's up higher for a change. he just carries himself like, I got this. And I'd say he does if he can throw it like that. And now Charlie. Right back on track after that open frame in the 8th. Pretty good ball. Tristan is going to lead us off. And now Dakota for a big wide open split. And he converts it. And he likes it. Oh, well, that's not what he had in mind. If he can lower his backswing, let gravity drop it instead of pulling it down and not pull it on through, that alone will usually slow down his ball speed a little. And yet it still has enough speed to hold line. That one looked like it was a little left. See ya. That's the winning ball right there. So, with 9 strikes, 4 of them Brooklyn's, McFluffy has dispensed with Tristan, who'll have to wait another week for his first win on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Waiting in the wings to meet Christian in match 3 is none other than Kareena, our number 2 seed. Kareena is still looking for her first win on Prodigy. Maybe today will be her day. Although she admitted to me that she really didn't want to bowl Christian. She was hoping she would bowl Tristan. And her rationale was pretty interesting. She thought that Tristan would be more tired. I'm not sure why. But she has opted to start. And with Kareena's slow ball speed, she is definitely going to have to migrate inward on the lane. This pair has broken down quite a bit. But she gets that one out, and it hooks right back, right between the 3 and 6, exactly the way you would want to convert the 3, 6, 10. So now Christian up on the right. Oh, he pulled that one. He missed his mark by like an arrow. And that's usually because he pulls it down from the top instead of letting it fall from the top. Can't grab it from the top. But he gets a spare. Tristan's getting his backswing up a little higher today than I'd like to see. He has a tendency to do that sometimes. He bowls really well when he keeps it down about head high. There's a good ball that trips the 4 and the 7. And judging from his reaction, I don't think he liked that shot, but I think I would have liked that shot if it was me throwing it. You get a trip 4, that might mean it's your day. Kareena holds on to the ball a little too long there, and that's usually a sign of squeezing it. You got to keep a real relaxed thumb in the thumb hole. Let that ball get off the thumb quickly so that you can roll your wrist through it and let the ball roll off your fingers. And she hooks by the 3-9. You got to hit that one square on the 3-pin to carry out the sleeper behind. So we have an early open frame, and Kareena surrenders the lead to McFluffy. It's a much better shot. Leaves the 10. She's been pretty solid with her spares of late. But not this time.
Come on, Kareena.
I think she would benefit from a plastic ball, a spare ball that doesn't hook. She doesn't hook it that much, but when the lanes are dry like this, it's counterintuitive for a player to want to throw the ball toward the gutter, knowing that it's going to hook. You really just want to be able to throw it straight at that corner pin. All right, Tristan on the right. Through the nose again. The 6-10. Tristan will use his spare ball, a T-zone, and easily covers the 6-10. Gave that one a rip at the bottom, and that could easily have struck. But he leaves a swishin' 7. We call it a swishin' 7 when you hit that half pocket and that 5-pin whistles over right in front of the 7 and doesn't quite take it down. Once again, he goes cross lane at the 7, and this time he makes it. Well, strikes have been at more of a premium today than I would have guessed they would be. Kareena needs a couple right now. And that one just never pushes quite enough. Kareena doesn't throw it with a lot of ball speed, so she's got to rely on angle, and when the lanes are dry like they are today, she's got to get left far enough to find some oil on the lane. But picking out where she's standing on about 23 or 4 right now. She's throwing it just to the right of the third arrow. That's a pretty good ball right there. And another one that could have carried the 7. And just like Christian's before it, that lone corner pin refuses to fall. And that's where a ball that hooks helps you out. Had that been a plastic ball, I don't think it would have gotten to the 7, but Kareena covers it. Christian's lead, 24. Oh, we got that one out a little farther. He moved left with his feet. Played it a little farther in at the arrows, and that allowed him to find a little bit of oil on the lane to project the ball down lane and allow it to get farther right as well before it made the turn. See if he can put a double up on the board and extend the lead to 34. Nope. That one hooks through the nose, and this is the spare that gave McFluffy fits over the summer. The 3, 6, 10. Here's how you make it. Put that ball right on the 3 and the 6. The 6 will take out the 10 if the ball doesn't deflect over into it. All right, that's how it's done. And now Kareena in the 6th. And once again, she just doesn't get it to project far enough to the right, but she gets a little lucky and gets a Brooklyn to go. So, in this game, you take what you can get. But she really needs to make a big move left. It would be huge if she could get a strike right here and cut the lead to 14. And she does. Now that's a wall shot. Let's take a look at it. Watch the head pin. It's going to go to the left wall, comes back, kicks the 4 into the 5, and takes out the 7. That's what a wall shot looks like. And we see Christian has made a move left. Now watch it. Now he's at about 24 or 5 at the line. He's hitting about 16 at the arrows, and he's in at about 8 or 9 at the break point. So that allows him a little more length before the ball hooks. That's how you play a house shot right there. He hit about 17 at the arrows that time, and that's too deep, especially on this left lane. The characteristic of 39 and 40 at Brunswick Zone Roswell is 40, the end lane, always seems to hook about a board or 2 more than 39. It has for as long as I have bowled in this house. Good cover of the 4. So let's see if Kareena can keep this string going. She can cut it to 4 here. Oh, but it drifts high, and she's got a split. The 310, we call it the baby split. It's one of several baby splits, actually, because you can fit the ball between it, and the ball can take out both pins, just like we show you there. Put that ball on the right side of the 3. It will deflect into the 10. But again, you don't want the ball hooking into the 3-pin because then it won't deflect. And there is an open, and now Tristan's lead grows to 28. Well, if Kareena strikes out, she shoots 191. Tristan is going at a 199 pace. So Kareena's got to string some here. And that one gets away from her. She makes a little too big a move left. And leaves the 1-2-8. You got to get the ball left of the head pin and hit the 2 squarely, and it will take out the 8. Just like that. Nice shot. So that drops her possible score to 181. And there is a strike. It looks like Tristan has finally gotten lined up on the right lane. So that gives him, well, if he gets a spare, he'll be at 179 plus 10. So he only needs a few pins to lock this match up. Well, he gets 6. If he were to miss all of them, that would give him 181. And Kareena could catch him if she struck out. So he only needs one of these to secure the match. And that ought to do it. And that gives him the opportunity to move on to the championship match against Charlie. We'll finish this one out. .199 with a strike. Nope. He actually missed his target left. And on a house shot, when you miss left, sometimes it doesn't come up because you're throwing it into the oil. You throw it off to the right where the dry boards are, and it'll come back. And it looks like we got a little over-under going on this pair. It's a crossover strike for Kareena. Possible 181 with 2 more. Well, she finally got far enough in on the lane that she wasn't fighting the nose the last several frames, but it just took her a little too long to make the adjustment. And this is academic. The match is already Christian, so it's a 168 for Kareena. But it is Tristan who is moving on. He will face Charlie in the championship match next.
Now, bring the spirit of Prodigy Bowlers Tour to your bowling center with Prodigy Bowlers Tour t-shirts and sportswear, including collared shirts with the Prodigy logo printed on the back to show that you support junior bowling. Check out the entire assortment of Prodigy t-shirts in the Brunswick store. Visit ProdigyBowlersTour.com to see the selection. That's ProdigyBowlersTour.com.
Both players struggled with the transition, as the championship pair has really dried out quite a bit. And it was Tristan who was first to make a move in deep enough on the lane to find some oil. His 196-168 win over Kareena sets him up for a championship match with Charlie. This is a pairing we saw several times last year. In fact, 3 of Tristan's 4 wins on Prodigy last year came at the expense of Charlie. So you can bet Charlie would like to reverse that trend today.
How about that one right there?
But before we get started with the final match, we posed a riddle at the beginning of the show today. What has 4 legs, 21 strikes in a row, and has signed a coveted trophy pin 12 times? And the answer to that riddle is Charlie and Hunter. Just before our qualifying round began, Charlie was practicing on this pair of lanes, and here's what happened when he got up in the 10th frame working on the front 9.
Please, no. Yes. Come on. Oh, that was such a bad shot.
The 10th ball was a little light, but he carried a wall shot. Then, on the 11th ball, he ripped the rack and carried a swisher. And on the 12th ball,
Come on, ball.
another wall shot for his 3rd 300 game, all of them this year. Charlie would go on to start the next game with a 5-bagger. That's 17 strikes in a row. But look a little closer at the overhead scoreboard, and you'll see that his fellow competitor, Hunter, notched his first ever 4-bagger. So between the two of them, that's 21 strikes, all in succession. Charlie was an 8-time winner on Prodigy last year, and Hunter won 4 times. So between the two of them, they've signed the coveted trophy pin a total of 12 times. We're about to find out if Charlie can keep that momentum going here in the championship match between him and Tristan. Tristan just loves this matchup. He loves to test himself against Charlie. He also loves the fact that he has won against Charlie a few times. Charlie, how does he feel about that? Not so much. Well, he got that one a little wide of his target, and as I mentioned earlier, on a house shot, you get it wider, especially when there's a little over-under action going on. It's going to overreact. Get it out to the dry, and it comes hooking back too soon, too much. And now he's got the 3-6-10, his nemesis over the summer. That's how you make it. Put that ball right between the 3 and the 6. Oh no. Well, let's take a look at this. We're having a little difficulty today. Tristan is getting his swing. It's very, very late. Watch this. He takes 1, 2 steps, and he hasn't even moved the ball yet. That ball should already be well into his swing by now. And then it gets way up over his head. We're trying to make him stop that. He just refuses. And what that does is it makes his swing even later. See his left foot? It's flat on the floor now. His swing, his bowling arm, should be parallel to the floor as his left foot gets flat on the floor. And then he's out of balance to boot. But that was one of the worst shots I've seen him throw in a couple of months. And it resulted in an open. And Charlie is finding out what everyone else has discovered, that this pair has transitioned quite a bit. It's certainly a different pair of lanes since he shot his 300 game on it earlier. By the way, in that same little practice session when Charlie shot 300, he also shot a 277. So he was owning this pair of lanes earlier. But he starts the match with a spare and takes an 11-pin lead over Christian. And that is as solid a strike as you'll ever see. Charlie playing deep enough on the lanes that even though he throws it out to the right, it doesn't hit the dry until far enough down the lane that it... See, Christian's hooks early because he just got it too far right too soon. When it hits the dry early, it starts hooking early. Got some pins prematurely falling. See, Charlie, they're scared of you, buddy. They start falling before you're even up on the lane. They know what's coming. All right, let's see if Christian can put a strike up here and close the gap on this match. He did. And that's probably the best ball I've seen him throw today. So Charlie's lead is reduced to 1, although he's got a strike working, so he can extend it right back out with the strike here. And that's the psychology of match play. When you've got a strike working, that's the time you want to keep the foot on the gas. But no. It looks like this match is going to come down to who can hit the right lane. Because it is just hooking like crazy. Charlie flattens out his hand to go at that spare. That is a fantastic technique to learn if you don't have it in your quiver. Learn to take something off the ball. That's good even when you're throwing strikes. You get on lanes that are really dry, it's nice to be able to throw what I call a kill shot. Well, once again, characteristic of this pair, the ball labors a little bit to make it back to the pocket on 39. When you think you're lined up on the pair, you find that 39 doesn't hook quite as much. Solid spare, though. All right, Christian can take a 10-pin lead if he gets another one here. Oh, and there's another good one. He was nice and steady at the line. He stuck the landing, and he sticks Charlie with a 10-pin deficit here through 4 frames, overcoming that open he got in the first frame. But now can he keep it going? No. They're touchy. They're really touchy. He didn't throw that one that bad, but it hooked early. He must have gotten it just a little too wide. All right. He struggled with a couple of spares today. Let's see if he can take care of this 10-pin. There, he's in much better balance that time. Charlie got a new ball. I'm not sure which one he's throwing right now, but he got the Roto Grip Show Off. And he was showing off with it earlier when he shot that 277 and that 300. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think he loves that ball. Although I'm not sure it's the right choice for this condition. Well, he did throw a little bit of a kill shot that time. He didn't load up his wrist that time like I'm used to seeing him. That is something that every aspiring bowler should learn how to do. Put a little extra on it, take a little off it. You're really never a complete bowler if you don't have that ability. I know much is made these days about making adjustments with equipment, but if you have the ability to change your hand position, your wrist position, how it comes off your hand, your axis rotation and tilt, if you can change all those things, you have much more in your arsenal. That is a solid, solid strike. Let me show you what I love so much about Charlie's game. This is just as good as it gets. Watch this. When he gets to the top, he's totally relaxed when he gets there. And from the top, there is no pull down, no grab, nothing. He just lets it drop. And I've never seen Charlie out of balance unless he's stuck at the line or something. That's as good as it gets. Ooh. Well, that was a good ball. Maybe just a tickle too high. Let's watch his reaction. He didn't like it. I don't suppose I would have either. Oh, look out. Well, it's a good thing he threw plastic. If that had been any other ball in his arsenal, that would have hooked by, but that's why you throw plastic at spares. Or a weak urethane ball. Personally, I prefer urethane just because it's a little more durable. I've had a couple of plastic balls chip. Oh! And that one dives through the nose. And no, 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 Christian, we don't bang the ball return. Yes, you hear the people in the gallery going, eh. No. Well, after leaving that 9-pin and now this, he doesn't have the lanes to blame, though. He threw those balls. Good effort. But 9,999 times out of 10,000, you are not going to bounce one out. So that means Charlie took the lead while sitting on the bench. And you don't usually want to hand Charlie the lead late in a match. Oh, but that light shaker just won't quite go. And he leaves the 7. He could have pulled away with a strike there, but not to be. Covers the 7. So with 3 frames to go, we've got a 3-pin match. Oh, no, that ball doesn't make it back either. Well, we've seen that again and again on lane 39, but this time Charlie pays the penalty and leaves the 2-10. Here's how you make it. You get that ball to the left of the 2, knock it into the 10, and he takes a second look at it. Ooh, good try. We've seen Charlie make some wide open splits on the show in the past, but it wasn't to be this time. And so the lead goes back to Christian. So McFluffy will step up in the 8th frame with a 10-pin advantage. Go off the sheet here, and there's nothing Charlie can do about it. We haven't seen many strings of strikes. I think Charlie used them all up earlier in the day. Oh, and he goes high, but he trips the 4 and the 7. And he's saying, I can't move any farther left. Well, he's going to have to figure something out on that lane because he's got to finish on the right lane. The left lane, not really a problem, although he did go high and leave the split on 39 the last time he was up there. But generally, the problem on 39 has been not getting the ball back to the pocket like that. And now he's got a cluster on his hand, the 2, 5, 7, 8, and you want to put that ball between the 2 and the 5 with a little hook on it so that it'll carry out the 8, knock the 2 into the 7. This is a tricky one. There's a lot of ways to miss this, and I think Christian is trying to decide, should I hook at it? The answer to that question is yes. And where do I stand? He's going to back off until he's sure. Well, this is probably the most important shot of the match, so it's good that he's taking his time. And that's how it's done. Great shot. But now the situation is this. If both players strike out from here, we have a tie. Both of them have a max score left of 203. So who can perform in the 9th and 10th? Ew, through the nose again. I think Charlie's saying to himself, good, I'm about to be done with this confounded right lane. .36, put the ball on both pins. Well, he makes it on the outside. That'll work. Not the way we recommend, but it's a spare nonetheless. Now, Charlie has a possible 193 if he gets 3 strikes in the 10th. Christian, if he goes strike spare, would shoot 193. So if Charlie throws 3 strikes in the 10th, he will force Christian to get the first strike in the 10th. God, I love match play. Oh, no. Well, we've seen this all day on the left lane. The ball not getting back. He's got the washout. The 1, 2, 10. Oh! Well, that's the one bad break you can get when you hit it what seems like perfectly, but he sends the 1 pin right around the 10, and that's an open frame. And look at this, Christian needs just 4 pins on this ball to win. And I think he can handle that. Well, last season, Tristan started participating in these Prodigy Bowlers Tour events from just about the very first week we started doing it, even before we started calling it Prodigy Bowlers Tour. And it wasn't until our first episode of calendar 2017 that he got his first win. I remember he was anxious to get back after the holiday break, and then we had a weather delay. We had 1 week we didn't bowl back in January, right after the Christmas break, because of snow and ice in the area. But then he won the first one. He doesn't have to wait so long this time, as McFluffy wins on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. We'll talk to both of them when we come back. Remember, if you bowl Youth League in the greater Atlanta area and would like to have Prodigy come visit your local bowling center, have your youth director or general manager get in touch with me. My email address is randy@prodigybowlerstour.com. Next week, we'll be right back here at Brunswick Zone Roswell, and we'll be awarding at least one entry into the Bowlapalooza Ball Demo Day being held by McCorvey's Bowling World. This Ball Demo Day will take place on the 23rd at AMF Woodstock Lanes in Woodstock, and you'll be able to throw the latest equipment by Ebonite, Columbia, Hammer, and Track, including the Ebonite Affinity, Ebonite Verdict, Columbia 300 Sabre and Lit, the Hammer Diesel, Hammer BW Gold, the Track Logix, and the Track Mako Attack. For more information, get in touch with McCorvey's Bowling World inside Brunswick Zone Roswell at 678-213-4300. Then the following week, we'll have our first road show of the season. Stay tuned for next week's show when we'll reveal where we're going. Well, Tristan got the better of Charlie again, although somehow I doubt if Charlie is all that disappointed after notching his third 300 game earlier in the day. Let's visit with our two finalists.
Charles.
Yeah.
What happened? You shot 300 on this pair of lanes earlier.
Yeah, transition hit. It dried up and...
Way too quick.
Yeah, I didn't really have any weak balls to throw. I didn't have a urethane or anything, so I was just kind of like... I was trying to kick it down the lane, which I shouldn't have done in the first place, but that's why I shot 169, so... just didn't have the right ball.
What is coming out of your mouth?
Gum.
Okay, well, you didn't have to wait half the year to get your first win.
Nope.
We don't have a coveted trophy pin for you yet. So, we'll get you to sign the Bowlapalooza flyer. Because next week, we're going to be giving away at least one spot in the Bowlapalooza Ball Demo Day. So you might as well sign the sheet, and who knows, maybe you'll win it. Congratulations.
Thank you.